Hello and welcome to this lecture, and in this lecture what we will do is that we will go ahead and we will upload the image which is being set to this image button to the database. So in the previous lecture we have learned how to make this button functional so that we have our image over here. Now our job is to take that image and post it to the backend database. So the first thing which we need to do is that we need to address the issue that when we actually select an image of a larger size, this image button should not change its size. So in order to do that, you do need to change this layout width and layout height to a fixed one rather than having it wrap content. So this should actually be, let's say, 250 dp, and the height should be 250 dp as well. And I have also set some left margin over here, so I have set the left margin to be equal to 50 dp as well, so that this thing actually gets aligned to the center. Now depending upon your usage, you could actually set this thing to any of the image which you want, so make sure or feel free to do so by setting the size of this image button. And the next thing which we do is that we assign IDs to these two edit text right here. So you also need to collect data from these two edit text. As you click this button, this data and this image is going to be posted to the backend. So for this edit text, let's set the ID to be let's say edit name, and for this edit text let's set the ID to, let's say, edit DESC, which stands for description. And if you have a look at this button right here, which is the submit button, it has the onClick method as submit button clicked. So now as we want to make sure that when the user clicks this button, the entire data over here should be posted to the backend. So we will design this method in the post activity.java. So we'll go right here and then type in public void submit button clicked, and it's going to accept views. And once this thing is done, we are good to go. Now the next thing which you need to do is that you need to get a reference to both of the edit text. So we go right here and we type in private edit text. First one is going to be edit name, and the next one is going to be private edit text edit description. So once this thing is done, the next thing which we do is that we go ahead and get a reference to these two edit text in the onCreate method. So here what we do is that we type in edit name equals, typecast it to edit text. That's going to be find view by id r.id.edit name. And for the next one, we have edit description equals edit text find view by id r.id.edit description. So once we have a reference to these two, the next thing which we need to do is that we need to extract values from these two edit text. So for that, we go into the submit button and here we type in string so as to save the value, and that is going to be, let's say, name, or let's say title value equals. Now get this edit text. So this is going to be edit name, and to get the text from it, we type dot get text dot toString dot trim. And the next thing which we do is that we obtain the value of description as well. So that's going to be title DESC, that is description, equals edit DEC, or that should be DESC dot get text dot toString dot trim. So once this thing is done, we are good to go. Now the next thing which you need to do is that you need to check if these two values are not empty. So whenever the user is actually going to submit the data, what we want to make sure that none of the fields over here is empty. So in order to do that, we are going to use something which is called as text utils. But even before that, let me just fix this issue over here. And now let's go ahead and check the emptiness of these two strings. So we type if not text utils dot is empty, and we check first for the value. So that's going to be title value, and also we want to make sure that not text utils dot is empty, that's going to be title description. So if these two things are not empty, then what we want to do is that we want to go ahead and save that particular image into the backend. So In order to make sure that you are able to store the image into backend, the first thing which you need to do is that you need to get the reference to the storage. So in order to get reference to the storage, you again go back here, type in private storage reference, and let's name this thing as storage reference itself. So once we have reference to the storage reference, the next thing which we do is that we go ahead inside here, and here we will type in storage reference file path equals, that is going to be storage reference dot child. So we actually make a child, and let's name this thing as let's say post image, and it's better if we don't have any spaces over here, so that's going to be post image dot child. And for this child we are going to set the URI, so we'll type in URI dot get last path segment. And once this thing is done, what we finally do is that we want to check if this thing is successfully assigned. So what we do is that to this URI we attach the on success listener. So what we do is that we type file path dot put file and pass in the URI over here and add an on success listener. So we type dot add on success listener, and that's going to be new on success listener, and it's automatically going to create the on success method for us. So once we are successful in basically adding up the image, what we want to do is that we want to get the download URI. So we type URI download URI, or let's say URL equals, that is going to be take snapshot dot get download URL. So once we get the download URL, we are actually going to make use of this download URL in the upcoming lecture, and that should actually be the capital URI. And once this thing is done, that means we have successfully uploaded the image. Now in order to make sure that the image has been uploaded, we show a toast to the user. So toast dot make text, and this is going to be post activity dot this comma, and that is going to be a message which is going to say upload complete. And then we are going to have a toast of length long, and finally we show the toast. So let's type in show over here, and once this thing is done, we are good to go. And one more thing which we need to do here is that we need to go ahead and go to the manifest, which is this file right here, and you need to set up one more permission, which is going to be users permission internet, because we do need the internet to go ahead and upload the image. So we type users permission, and that is going to be internet. So once we have added this permission, the final thing which you need to do is that you need to go to Firebase console, open up your app, go to storage right here, and if you go to rules, I guess the rules are going to be set for the authenticated users only. So what you need to make sure that these rules are set to null. So we'll make it this request auth equals null. Finally hit publish, and once the rules are published, we are good to go. So once this thing is done, let me just go ahead, save the code and run this application and see how it works. Okay, so as you could see, the application is up and running. So I'm going to hit this plus sign. I'm going to click the image button and select some random image from my SD card or camera. So let me just select let's say this particular image. I'm going to hit OK, and as you could see, now the image is not out of bounds and it perfectly fits the screen. Now let me enter some name like let's say green, and let me enter some description like I love nature. And once this thing is done, let me hit the submit button and see how this thing works. So when I hit submit, I guess we do have some error over here. So let me just quickly go through the error and let's see what kind of error do we have. Okay, so I actually got my error, and I have made the changes and I have tested the app and it works fine. So my issue was we have not yet added the reference to the storage reference itself, so we have directly used the storage reference over here. But even before using that storage reference here, what you need to do is that you need to initialize it. So for that, in the onCreate, you need to first get the reference to the storage reference from the Firebase storage, and by using the getInstance.getReference method. So once you add this line of code over here, your app is going to work fine. So let me just demonstrate that by saving the code and running the application on my device, just to show you guys that everything works correctly. So I'm going to record my screen over here, and as you could see, I'm going to click the plus sign, click this button, go to SD card, my camera folder, and in here let me select some image, let's say this image right here. So when I click OK, as you could see, the image is set, and when I type in some name like let's say road, and let's say travel, and when I hit submit, it's actually going to take a while for the image to get uploaded, and as soon as the image is uploaded, you are going to get a toast message which says upload complete. So we will wait for that message. So as you could see, we got the toast as upload complete. So I'm going to stop recording this, and I'm actually going to stop my application as well, as the upload is now complete. So what I'm going to do now is that to show you guys that the image has been successfully uploaded, I'm going to go to storage. So let me just go to the Firebase console, go to the storage option right here. And if you actually open it up, as you could see in the post image folder, we will have two images because I have already tried before demonstrating this thing to you. So if you open up the second image, this is the image which we have uploaded just right now. So if you open this thing up, it's taking a while for this thing to load up the preview. So as you could see, this thing right here is the image which we have downloaded. So if you open this thing up in the new tab, it's going to show you the entire complete image as it's going to show up over here. So that's it for this lecture, and I hope you guys were able to understand how to go ahead and upload the image for our application in the backend. So what we have essentially done here is that we went ahead, and the first thing which we do is that we get a reference to the storage by using storage reference. Then we initialize the storage reference in onCreate, and then in the submit button click method, first we check for the emptiness of these two edit text, and we have not actually entered the edit text values in the database. We are going to do that in the upcoming lectures. This lecture was just to basically go ahead and upload an image. So after that, after checking the emptiness, if these two things are not empty, then we basically get the file path, that is where the actual image should be stored. And after doing that, what we do is that we add a non-success listener which defines what should happen when the image is successfully uploaded. So when the image is successfully uploaded, we basically want to show up a toast which says something like the upload is complete. And then finally, to cross check, we have also opened up the Firebase console to check if the image is uploaded, and as you could see, we right here have our image. So that's it for this lecture, and I hope you guys were able to understand how to go ahead and upload an image. So in the next lecture, what we will do is that we will also add the edit text values, that is the values in these two fields, to the database as well. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.